Hello. Hello, hello. How are you all today? I am doing an impromptu live here for you, my weekly musings. I say impromptu literally because I realised 2 seconds ago that it was 1 o'clock and I was supposed to be live. It's been a morning, a lovely morning, mind you, because it's Monday. Did you see my post earlier on? I was wearing this t-shirt. I was like, nope, not today. Um, And I thought to myself, it's quite funny. I used to have those vibes myself on a Monday where I didn't necessarily enjoy going to work on a Monday morning. I'm sure many of you can relate. Now, this week might be a bit different because if you're in Northern Ireland, you might be off this week because obviously we've got the July holidays, the 12th of July coming up. And a lot of bank holidays this week, so many workplaces take the whole week off, in which case you might be absolutely loving your Monday today. So let me know if you're watching. If you're watching live in the comments, do let me know if you are off this week. If you have any plans, are you doing anything nice? Are you going anywhere? Seeing any friends? Any nice plans? The weather has kind of turned a little bit, which is a bit crap. Um, but it is what it is, really, isn't it? We just got to make the best of it. I think we've maybe had our summer with that glorious weather we had in June. Maybe it will come back. You'll never know. I'm going to take a few days myself this week just to recharge the batteries and go away with my partner and get a kind of wee overnight stay in Donegal and just walk along the beach, whether it's raining or not. I don't care. Just to get outside. It's nice sometimes just to get your feet in the sand and to just unwind. Um, Deliberately took some time over the weekend to recharge the batteries as well. I'm starting to establish better boundaries. Let me know, either if you're watching live or if you're watching in ActionAid. Hi, yeah, yes, indeed. Let me know sort of what you did over the weekend, and let me know also as well what your boundaries are like. I've been working on this, so boundaries for me, it kind of got a wee bit blurred for a little while there. Whereas when you're self-employed, you feel like you are constantly, that you always have to have your phone in your hand and that you always have to answer straight away. And I've been working really hard on trying to set better boundaries so that, you know, when I'm not working, when I'm with my family, when I'm with my partner, when I'm with the kids, when I'm with friends, that I'm not disconnected, that I'm not, I'm sure we've all been there, we've all done that, where we kind of, you're maybe watching something on TV and then you find yourself scrolling through your phone and you're not actually present because you're scrolling, you're answering messages, you're doing other things, you're not actually present in the room. And that can be quite toxic and quite dangerous because it starts to damage your relationships. So I'm trying to really be very cautious and very careful about how I stay present when I'm not working. So, for anyone who messaged me over the weekend, you may have noticed that I didn't deliberately answer you straight away, and that I waited until this morning because that's part of my new boundary practicing where I am just going to be a little bit more strict with myself for my own mental and emotional well-being. And I think it's something, I think leading by example with regards to if I teach my clients that it's okay for me to disrespect my boundaries, then they'll do the same. So it makes sense for me to actually say, no, I am only responding when I'm at work. And likewise as well, that I respond to my member clients and my paying clients, as opposed to just getting into big conversations for no apparent reason. Do we ever get that? Do you ever get sucked into some of the stuff? Let me know as well. Have you been caught up with this new Threads thing, this new Threads app? Let me know your thoughts on it. I haven't as yet, and again, I think it's a boundary thing for me. It's yet another social media platform. I'm sure it's actually very good and it's probably going to be quite a decent one. It seems that there's so many social media platforms and we kind of feel that we have to be on them all. Now, don't get me wrong. I think this Threads one might actually maybe help people connect better without all the sort of fluff. that we don't need, but it'll be interesting just to see where it goes. I'm pretty sure it'll hang around. It's got the backing of the big giants of Facebook, so I'll say it'll definitely stay around. Sinead, that's something you've been working on, so the phone will definitely have to be the next step. Yeah, it is. I think even it's the habit forming thing. We always have our phone in our hands, and I don't know about you, but if I'm watching TV and then there's an ad break, rather than talking to my partner, we both lift our phones and start scrolling. So I think we need, we're something that we work on where we decide maybe that we now set these phones down and we don't actually bring them into the living room with us at night when we're watching something, or that, if we're going out for a walk, the phone only comes out to take a photo and then goes back into your bag, and it's not that it's a permanent fixture in your hands. I don't know. I think we've all got quite addicted. So let me know what you think yourself about that. And as I say, anybody watching this on replay later, do leave me a couple of comments. Let me know what you think, because I think it's a massive issue. And then now with this new Threads app, there's even more reason to be on your phone. It just seems that we're constantly on our phone. That having been said, though, being on your phone for me as an online business owner, it gives me freedom. It means I don't have to be tied to my laptop. It means I can be out and about and answering people. So I wanted to talk a little bit before I've lifted some cards for us today. But before I talk about the cards, I wanted to answer just a couple of questions that came in over the weekend about some of the private one-to-one work that I have been talking about. And people have been saying to me, what on earth is a Voxer day? And I thought I would answer that for you because it's maybe something you haven't heard of before. Traditionally, coaching and mentoring work and private one-to-one work is done either in person or on a Zoom call. I do most of my work on Zoom calls now so that it can be recorded for people, and so that transcriptions can be set. It makes life easier for a lot of people because it means that you don't have to be sitting furiously writing notes and everything's automatically done for you. And you have all the notes written out from your session. So it's kind of far nicer to do it by a Zoom call if you're wanting to do that. However, Zoom calls don't work for everybody, because you may find that you don't have 90 minutes to set aside to be, just on a Zoom call for that full period, that maybe you want to actually be able to go about your day, but still know you've got help when you need it. So that's where the beauty of a Voxer day comes in. So Voxer is just an app, a messaging app, very like WhatsApp. And in fact, you can do it on WhatsApp instead if you prefer. So if that's your app of choice, you can use that. But what Voxer gives you is a little bit more privacy, in that you don't have to share telephone numbers with each other. And you also then, the lovely thing about Voxer is it's got like a walkie-talkie version of it, so that you can listen to, if I'm responding to you with a voice note, you can actually listen to it as I'm speaking it, rather than having to wait for me to send it. And likewise, I can listen to yours. So it's nearly like being in a real time conversation. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be glued to your phone all day, because I've just spent a few minutes at the start of this talking about how we don't want to be glued to our phones. But it's about making the best use of technology, making technology work for you rather than it being the other way around. So you can work smarter, not harder. So with a Voxer day, what you're getting is, instead of a 90-minute having to sit in front of a Zoom call and just have an intense coaching session, you get that spread out throughout the day. So you get the benefit of having me essentially in your pocket for that day. Or if you want, you can book for a week or a month or 3 months or however long you want. You can book that support for. And it means that I'm there in the background if you need to message me for help, if you need to run something by me, say you're coming up with a new project. A couple of people on at the moment that I only take a handful of people on at any one time, but I've various couple of people at the moment who are, one of whom is in the process of really establishing and starting up her new business that she's working on, and she's just needing a little bit of help and support and guidance to get her thoughts in order about what she wants to serve, how she wants to serve, how she wants to deliver her products and her services, and how she can get herself out there. And because I've done this, she's turned to me to ask for help, and that's a lovely thing. And I'm able as well to help her with some of the technical aspects, because I have a tech background, so I'm able to help her with things like her social media and her mailing list and her website and her Canva graphics and all that sort of stuff. And then I have another person who's just in talks with me at the moment, trying to decide what way she wants to work. Does she want to do a mixture of calls? Does she want to do calls and Voxer? Does she want to just, do a sort of, you know, bespoke kind of package about where I help her out and I do some of it for her. So there's lots of different ways of doing it. But the beauty of Voxer and having Voxer coaching, Voxer mentoring is that you can essentially have me at your beck and call. So I will answer you during normal working hours within a reasonable period, and we will, if you do a Voxer day as such, then that day is specifically for you. I'll not take on any other clients that day. That day is just for you. And you essentially have me there all day to answer and to guide and to support. And I can go away and research things for you. I can pull cards for you. I can do whatever you need. And that's the joy of a Voxer day. The longer packages, the week-long packages are perfect if you're maybe wanting a call and then a week-long package where we can then really hammer stuff home. And we can start on the call together maybe on a Monday, start doing the work, and then you've got me there all week as your support network. Likewise as well, it doesn't have to be for a work thing. It could be maybe you have something going on in your personal life and you want a card reading. And then through the week, you want, maybe the card reading says that it's a good idea to do a few things. Maybe it gives you some pointers, gives you some ideas as action steps you can take to move through the transition phase that you're on. And then maybe you want that Voxer support afterwards for maybe a day, 2 days, a week, however long you want it, so that you can then come back to me and bounce ideas off me and run further ideas past me, and we can continue to consult the cards. So there's lots of different ways you can make it work. So what I would say to you is, if you're interested in any of it and you want me to chat to you about it, send me a wee DM and we can make that happen for you. As I say, I have a little bit of space left in the diary. I have one 3-month package left. And I have some pay-as-you-go options left as well. So the area is starting to get quite tight, but if you get in touch with me quickly, you'll get in. What else did I tell you? Had acupuncture this morning with the fabulous Connie Mercer, and I am just feeling quite zen now. It's lovely, and that's what sort of I was running. I was at zen and I was at chill. I kind of forgot I was going to be online today. So pulled a few cards. Let's have a wee look at them and see what's coming up. It's interesting this week. The cards that have come up this week. We've got 2 swords and a major arcana card. So we have got the 5 of swords, the 2 of swords, and the death card has come up this week. I don't want you to all run for the hills and be frightened, because there's nothing wrong with any of these cards. The first one that's come up is this 5 of swords, and the 5 of swords, it's sort of saying to me that maybe this week there'll be a few times where maybe tensions run high. That maybe there'll be a few times where, and I suppose this is a week in Northern Ireland in particular, and I know I have followers from all over the world and not just Northern Ireland, but those of us in Northern Ireland know that this particular week can cause tensions, it can cause issues, and there can be conflict. So it doesn't really surprise me that this 5 of Swords has come up, given that I'm in Northern Ireland and I'm pulling this card. But bigger than that, taking it away from the events that will be coming up this week, the 5 of Swords says to me about being very careful with your words, being very careful with how you're communicating to people, that you're not having any sort of hollow victories there, that you're not maybe saying things that you don't necessarily mean to say, that you are not really getting embroiled in drama and battles that have nothing to do with you. This wee guy in the background sometimes makes me think that, are your strings being pulled a little bit? Who's pulling your strings, and are you dancing to someone else's tune and then being made out to be a bit of an asshole as a result? Are you being made out to be a little bit of a sort of, riding straight through no matter what and causing hurt and chaos, when actually that's not what you really want to do, because it's not in your normal nature to be that way? So just be very careful this week about your communication style and about your thought patterns. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in someone else's drama. Don't allow yourself to get sucked into the monkey mind of whatever else is going on. Remember as well, you are a sovereign being and no one can make you feel a particular way unless you choose to feel that way. And likewise, we can't control other people, and we can't control what other people say or think or do, but we can only control ourselves. So don't allow yourself to be sort of the puppet being pulled by other people. And be very, very cautious of your words and your thoughts this week, so that you're not necessarily becoming the victor and thinking, yes, I've won that fight, I've won that argument, and then you're left kind of feeling a bit hollow inside because ultimately that's not really what any of us want in life. We don't need the conflict, we don't want the conflict usually. And that's not to say that you should just allow people to walk all over you, but it's about choosing your battles, picking and choosing when it's worth your energy and when it's easier just to walk away, because ultimately our peace of mind is something that no one can take from us. But let's not give it away to other people. Okay, let me know if that makes sense. The other card that's come up then this week is the Two of Swords, and this is a card about having to make a very difficult decision. This is a card perhaps where you're wrestling with something, and that in this particular instance, these two characters are both kind of well matched. You can sort of see they're both in armor, they've both got their faces covered, barely able to see out through that face shield. They are big, heavy swords, but they're evenly matched. No one has got more than the other. They're just kind of both holding each other up in a bit of a stalemate. And the Two of Swords speaks to me about having this conflict, this sort of inner conflict of having to make a decision, weighing up two very clear options, and each one of them has valid merit on each side, and you're struggling to decide which way you want to go. What I would say to you is, in situations like this where you have to make decisions, come down into your heart and lean with what does your body tell you? What is your lean even further down and under into your gut? What does your gut tell you? What is your soul telling you is the right thing? Because that's usually the right answer. What does your body do? So tune in and listen to your body. If you're making a decision, does your body provoke a stress response when you think about one thing and a relaxation response with the other? Well, then go with the relaxation response. Avoid the stress response. We don't need the stress. We don't need the additional pain and hassle in our lives. Okay. It's a card about looking within again. It's about, you can see that both characters in this card have their faces covered, and in the traditional deck, the lady wears a blindfold and she's got two big swords just crossing her like this, crossing across the heart, and it's nearly like blocking off the heart, nearly coming into the head. I kind of feel that with all decisions, it's a good idea to try and balance head and heart. Yes, we need to listen to our rational mind because our heart will sometimes lead us astray, but our bodies won't lie. So if our body is telling us that it has a massive stress response about doing something, then we maybe want to rethink, and we maybe want to lean into our heads a little bit more. And it's kind of about trying to strike that balance between your head and your heart so that you can move forward with the decision that you need to make. But interestingly, the card that's come up as the third card is the Death card. It's called the Close in my deck, and it's a card that speaks of transition and change, a time of letting go of what is no longer working. Maybe that might be ways of thinking, ways of behaving, energy patterns. It might be a relationship that has to be let go of. It might be a job that has to be let go of. It might be maybe a friendship that might have to be maybe a habit, or something that you're doing in your life that is no longer working for you anymore. And this card comes in not as a scary card, it comes in just to say, listen, for everything there is a time and a place. And sometimes things naturally have to die in order for new things to be reborn. So it's very much like when you're transitioning maybe out of a relationship, for example, and you are still processing all the feelings and you're still going on with what's going on, and you're sort of tied up and you're having maybe this battle about wanting to be right and everybody else is wrong, and you're having this sort of battle of wills in your head about, do I stay, do I go, you know, what if, and thinking about all the different things, and you're getting yourself all confused. And this card comes in to say, just set it all down, let it go, move on. It is time for something new. Likewise, as well, perhaps maybe it's a job. Okay, so let's apply this same sort of theory to these cards to a job. Maybe you're in a new job, you're not sure if you like it, or you're wanting to change your jobs, or you're starting a new business and you're thinking, oh, goodness. And this Five of Swords might be saying to you, right, okay, look at your communication styles, look at where there's drama, where can you avoid it, where can you stop being a puppeteer, where can you take direction for your own life. The Two of Swords is maybe saying to you then, okay, weigh up your options, sit down and carefully make a plan of pros and cons. If needs be, step into your head first and let your head have its say. Get all the rationalization out, do a brain dump. and then tune in with your body and see which option is right for you. Maybe go and get a card reading to decide which way to go. Have a Voxer down, whatever you need. Um, and then the death card is also then saying this is time for change and transition. You cannot welcome something new into your life if you continually hold on to the past. So new stuff can't come in. So new love can't come in. New jobs can't come in. New fulfillment can't come in. New joy, new happiness can't come into your life if you're constantly still holding on to stuff that has already died and that needs to go. That makes sense. So I think the cards this week are saying to us, take a look. Take a look at what's going on in here. Take a look at how it's playing out in your life and make the decision what needs to be set down, what no longer serves you that needs to go. So when I do this for my own life, I'm looking at the things, maybe some of the services, some of the structures in my life that don't necessarily support where I want to go. I'm having to set down some things. So I'm having to set down my need to reply immediately to every single person that messages me. As you can imagine, I get hundreds of messages on a daily basis. I can't answer every single one. And I can't answer, quickly because I have other clients to deal with. I have work to do. I have admin to do. I have other stuff that I'm doing behind the scenes of the business. And for me, it's in order to provide a good service, I have to have good boundaries. So for me, one of the things I have to set down is my old preconceived idea that I had to be immediately 100% responsive and really quick. But I have to step back from that a little bit and go, okay, I will still provide you with an excellent service, but it will be when I am well rested and I have taken my time and my boundaries are set, and I will do that. So I'm setting down that old belief. I'm also clear in the way I'm changing how I offer my one-to-one services so to bring in the likes of these Voxer days to give more freedom and more flexibility for people so that you're not tied to just a Zoom call with me and that we can both go about our day and still be in touch with each other and still you can still get what you need out of the day. You can still feel supported. You can still, you can get far more done like that than in sitting in a 90-minute Zoom call with me. There's other things in my own life as well, personal stuff that I'm going through that I'm looking at and I'm setting things down and I'm clearing the way and the stuff, even with my mum and everything to do with her, her recent passing and all, still there's a lot of admin and a lot of stuff still to be done and other things that's still hanging over me that need to be dealt with. And they are all transitioning now and moving to allow fresh new energy to come in. And this is the thing, we have to step into the ability to flow with energy, to step in and notice what works for us, what doesn't work for us, what is making sense in our lives and what is actually not, what is sustaining us and what is draining us. So when we take a long, hard look at that, I want you to look at your life maybe this week, look at what is filling you up, what makes you feel good and what doesn't. Perhaps it might be time to set down the things that don't make you feel good, the old patterns, the old mental beliefs. And it might be painful that we have to sit down and say goodbye to people or things or places in order to move forward. But sometimes that's necessary because once we do that, then it opens the door to a far better future and it gives us a little bit of hope and a lovely set of new energy that comes in. So let me know if that speaks to you this week as the week goes on. Check back into this video, watch it again, share it with your friends. Let me know if you are in any of those sort of situations where you're trying to make decisions, where you're trying to sort of work through your own thoughts and emotions and what's happening in your life. It has been quite a period of transition and change for a lot of us. June was a big month. A lot of stuff happened in June for a lot of people. And July is a bit of a consolidation month now where we're trying to sort of make sense of it all. And it can be quite difficult. And we've stepped into the second half of this year, so maybe this year, when you look back at what you had planned in January, and now you're looking back and you're going, goodness, it didn't kind of work out the way I wanted it. Well, we're into the second half of the year now. What about you readdress those goals? You have a wee look at what else you could do and where do you want to be by the time this year ends? What do you want to have achieved? What do you want to get out of this year? And I would say to you then, perhaps make a little plan. Write it all down. Your goals are better when you write them down. You get them out of your head. What is it you want to achieve? Where do you want to be by December? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to show up as every day? Do you want to show up as this crazy sort of, aggressive and constantly on the battle, constantly, having to defend yourself? Or are you wanting to show up as constantly being sort of, you know, indecisive and struggling to make decisions? Or do you want to show up as actually, I'm happy to let stuff go and step into the flow of life so that I can bring about the wisdom and say, what's this trying to teach me? And bring about the newness and the new birth and the new growth that will come as a result. So those are my musings for this week. I'll leave those thoughts with you. As I said at the top of the video, if you want any information or any help about how one-to-one Voxer days can work for you, give me a shout. I have a little bit of space left in the diary for the end of this month and into August. So do get in touch if you would like to have the benefit of having me in your back pocket for the day or for longer. As I said, one spot left for 3 months mentoring. The other one went very quickly over the weekend. So give me a shout if it's something that speaks to you, and I will send you all the details that you need to know. In the meantime, have a fantastic week. If you are off this week, enjoy. I hope you have fun. Make sure you're doing something that feeds your soul on a daily basis. And whether it's raining or not, was it Billy Connolly says there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothes. So whatever you're up to, have a great time. And thank you, Sinead. It's lovely to see you today. And anybody else watching on replay, please give me a wee hashtag replay and let me know what your thoughts are once you listen to the cards. And I'll speak to you all again next week. See you later.